I just want everyone to just, with me for a moment, just take a nice deep breath. Just breathe in and breathe out. And I know that's a hippy-dippy thing to do, but we've actually all experienced at least a minor trauma this evening, or tertiary trauma as we call it, because we have borne witness, not to the explicit images, but to the testimonies of what happened on October 7th. And I just want to lay out some stats. Working with survivors, this is a particularly egregious instance or series of acts of violence. Violence or rape as a tool of war started in the late Middle Ages when rape was considered a way to show your manhood. It was considered a common or normal part of the spoils of war, and since that time, literally millions of women have been raped, mostly women, some men. We had a commission after World War II documenting that, the rape of Nanjing, World War II, you name it, in the former Yugoslavia. As you noted, Heidi, it is happening right now. It is happening in Ukraine. It is happening in Haiti, and we're talking about organized, systemic use of rape as a tool of sexual violence, as a tool of war. And the rapes that happened on women on October 7th were a war against their body, and 96% of rape survivors will suffer post-traumatic stress disorder within the first 2 weeks. 51% will have lifelong post-traumatic stress disorder. So we actually do understand that the trauma that happens with rape. We understand it because we understand PTSD of veterans coming back from war. We understand the flashbacks, the sleeplessness. You're gonna have issues sleeping tonight because of your tertiary trauma from bearing witness to this, right? Many of you are. We're talking about depression. We know that rates of depression for trauma for those who've experienced rape and sexual assault are 3 times what they are for folks who have not. We know that suicidal ideation and death by suicide is over 2 times more common for rape survivors. And so what is happening with these families right now is the survivor's identity has been shaken, the family's identity has been shaken, their community's identity has been shaken, mostly because of a myth that drives victim blaming. And that myth is, and this is why we, even though we know better, many of us do not believe survivors or want to blame them or hold them somehow accountable. What was she wearing? What was she doing? What was she, why was she out at night? We tell this story because to tell the truth, which is that we don't control these acts of criminal violence, right? And that the survivor is not at all responsible for a criminal, felonious act against her. If we tell that truth, then it means we can't control it. It means that our daughters are on college campuses where they face higher rates of rape and sexual assault than if they don't go to college. It means that we are not in control of this. And so what ends up happening is that a lot of survivors face victim blaming. I hope that none of these survivors do, but I will tell you right now, the struggle is literally to keep these rape survivors alive. The suicidal ideation and what happens for the next couple of years, it will take all of the family's resources to focus on that survivor. It will take community resources to focus on her. And what happens, and I want to just tie this back into so much of what's been said on the panel, if I may, what happens is that all of these symptoms of trauma are exacerbated when you face something that Jennifer Fried has called institutional betrayal. Meaning that the institutions that are supposed to support you and protect you, whether it's your political institutions or college campus, when you come forward to report rape or sexual violence, or law enforcement. And I should just say, we live in a culture that normalizes this. 90%, the UN does a survey every year, 90% of people across the globe view women as less than men, subhuman. It is patriarchy, it is misogyny, right? And it means, the hatred of women means that we all, a percentage is actually 91%, it means we all hold that, right? Like, it's men and women alike who are holding up this idea that women are subhuman, which is driving this, right? What happened on October 7th was intersectional. It was the hatred of women, and it was the hatred of Jews. There's no way you can do that to a human body unless you first dehumanize that human body. And so that is what was happening there. And all of these symptoms are amplified when a survivor faces institutional betrayal, meaning the institutions that are supporting